Hi everybody, I'm Evan and you're watching Jump TV, and today I have something pretty cool for you. I just saw Prey, which is the newest installment in the Predator franchise. I'm going to give you kind of a rough rundown of the plot and let you know what I thought about it. Now there are spoilers, so if you don't want any spoilers, go ahead and click out now until after you've seen it, and then come back and watch the review. But until then, let's take a look. So what did I think of the movie? Well, as a whole, I really loved it, actually. I thought it was really awesome. And I figured I would bring out Predator Concrete Jungle and just have it sitting there, because Predator Concrete Jungle is an absolute masterpiece of a game. I love the Predator franchise. I think that after seeing this one, it's probably one of my favorites. I really like the main character, Naru. I thought that the actress that played her did a really good job. There was a lot of, I don't want to say gender stereotyping, but there was a lot of elements in this movie that made it seem like, so before I get into all that, the movie is centered around a Comanche Native American tribe. And they live in the Great Plains, and I think this took place in 1719, from what memory serves from the beginning of the movie. But this is also around the time of French fur trappers, so they're also in the area. But I couldn't tell if she was the daughter of the chief of the tribe or something to that effect. But her brother is like a renowned hunter. And him and his friends always make fun of her that because she's a woman, she can't hunt and she can't do all this stuff. Boy, oh boy, does she prove them wrong. She is a badass in this movie. Like, wow. It's crazy. So, there's three things I'm going to talk about with this movie. The first one is the plot. The second one is the gore. And then the third one is how it stacks up to the other Predator movies. So, the plot. So, like I mentioned before, it follows a Native American girl who is kind of coming to terms with who she is, as well as figuring out if she can hunt. And she kills a couple of rabbits. I think she kills a deer, but her and her brother and her brother's friends are hunting a mountain lion, and that thing just brutally kills one of them, which is super awesome. He's sitting there saying like, "Oh, you're not going to be anything. You're a woman. You can't hunt." All this other, and then he just dies. It's just like, that's what you get. That's what you get. So that was really cool. But the whole thing is that she sees the Predator killing a bear, because the Predator hunts the apex species on the planet that it's on. So it's trying to figure out what the apex species is. So it's killing coyotes and wolves, and then it kills a bear, and then it realizes that people are the apex predator. So then it starts killing all the people in like these like meticulous and like really intricate ways, which is super awesome. I just couldn't. This movie was super awesome. But as time goes on, she tries to tell her tribe that, hey, there's something else out there that's killing people. And because the tracks are bigger and the predators have claws, they think that, it's just a bear. And she's like, no, it's not a bear. It's something much bigger and scarier than a bear. And it turns out that she was right. But eventually the movie goes on. She gets kidnapped by a bunch of fur trappers, and they know that this thing is out there. They don't really ever give it a name. They just call it the monster. But they tie her up, and then her brother gets captured too, so they tie them both up to a tree. It's kind of like Indiana Jones style, where they're like tied to the chair, and they try to use the siblings as bait, and this thing is just hopping around, killing probably like 20 or 30 of them, just like it's nothing. And eventually she eats this orange bush, or this orange like herb that grows wherever they are, and I guess it fights off infection, and then it kind of raises your body temperature and like lowers your body temperature, so it confuses the predator mask. So that's kind of like the mud in this movie. But there is a scene too where she falls into a mud pit when the predator's chasing her, but the predator never actually like. It's not like the other movies where like the protagonist is covered in the mud and the predator is kind of just like looking around. The predator's never on the camera when she's covered in mud, so it's assuming that he either is, not there or that he just, doesn't see her. But at the end of the movie, she fights the predator and she tricks it because his 3 laser reticles have homing like missiles, not the plasma missiles, but actual like pin missiles, and there's 3 of them because there's 3 like lasers on the head of the predator, or the helmet of the predator. And she knocks its helmet off and she puts it off to the side, and as the predator is like targeting her with the weapon, the lasers are pinned on the predator's head, so the predator fires the weapon and it bounces off the trees and kills the predator. So super awesome. The second part about this movie that I want to talk about is the gore. Oh man, this movie is just like top notch, just peak gore. It is great. It's so awesome. It's super graphic. But it's not disturbing. It's not ever to the point of it being like, okay, like that's a little much. It's kind of just what you'd expect from like a Predator movie, like arms getting cut off, heads getting cut off, that kind of thing. But it was just so well done, and I thought that the effects that were used in this movie were just great. So how does it stack up with the other Predator movies? Well, the first one is still my favorite. I love the Schwarzenegger Predator. It's really good. It's really good. It's amazing. I love the Schwarzenegger Predator movie. I'm not really going to count AVP as part of Predator movies because those are kind of just they're their own thing. So I'm talking just Predator 1, Predator 2, Predators, The Predator, and then this one. So if I was to do an order of like best to worst, or let's do worst to best. My least favorite one is 2. I've never really been a fan of Predator 2. I don't know. The New York City thing is kind of just like, okay. It's the only one that takes place like in a really urbanized area. I mean, The Predator does, but not to the extent of like a big city like in Predator 2. So Predator 2 is at the bottom. So I'll put a list right over here as the video goes on. So Predator 2 is at the bottom. Then I'd have to say it's probably The Predator. It was okay. It was better than 2, but the writing was really cheesy and the acting was just kind of I mean, I'm not expecting Oscar-worthy acting. It's a Predator movie, but still, it was kind of just Predators is probably like right in the middle for me. That's the one with Adrian Brody and Michelle Rodriguez when they're on the Predator planet. It's good. It's suspenseful, that's for sure. It's not great, though. I don't know. Like, this is a tough decision because this Predator movie was really good because compared to the other movies, it didn't have as much dialogue, which was kind of nice. I like when movies are like that, when they're super, like, not really just a lot of talking, but it's quiet and it's eerie. That really builds like to the suspense. So I did really like that. You know what? I'd have to say Predator and then Prey. I'm gonna go out. I'm just gonna say, you know what? This is probably my favorite of the Predator movies. I don't know why. Actually, I kind of do know why. I've listed why, but it's also the first one with a straight female protagonist, and I love female protagonists. So I think that Prey is probably my favorite of the Predator movies. I just really like it. I really think that you guys should go check it out. It's on Hulu. It's great. I think that it's definitely worth the watch. It's not very long either. It's only about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes runtime. So it's not short, but it's a decent length. It doesn't overstay its welcome. So that's kind of what I think of Prey. So I'd love to know in the comments if you guys liked it as well or hated it or whatever. But yeah, I think that I wanted to get on here and really talk about it too, because I just watched it about an hour ago and it was fresh in my brain. So I was like, you know what, I want to get on here and talk about it because it was so good. So, anyways, guys, as always, like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Have a good one.